It doesn't matter.
I can just talk.
Oh, is that in journalism too?
Yeah, you have to like, oh my gosh, you have to spell their name exactly how they spell it, so you always have to ask them, and half the time they're like, it's Joe, like Joe. Like, I don't know, maybe you spell it with 2 O's, I don't know.
Okay, Samantha McHugh, SAMANTHA MC capital HUGH.
Would you like to look at yourself while you talk or no?
No. Oh no, yes, I want that there. Yes, I don't want you guys looking at me.
That's what I mean. Like looking at my phone.
I mean, I'm gonna have to like look at you
I know,
when I edit.
I know, but I won't be there and it'll be better. Okay. Tumbleby? How are you saying it?
Yeah, I was thinking of it. I think you said it wrong, but that's okay. I mean, I don't know how to say it.
Sorry.
He can always
correct
read
me.
it.
Can I refer to what you're saying, the president that Nima was just talking about?
No, you should say the first president of Chad.
Okay. The first president of Chad also caused a lot of problems because he got rid of a lot of the tribal leaders, which left sort of a power vacuum within the tribal system in Chad. You're not supposed to use the word tribe in African studies.
Why?
Because it's like tribes weren't really created until colonials powers came in and like divided them up.
Great, we're talking about colonialism.
I'm gonna say ethnic groups.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's the difference between tribes and ethnic groups.
Well, I was talking about empires and ethnic groups.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, so the first president of Chad caused a lot of problems because he took out the authority figures from the ethnic groups, and that created a power vacuum. He was really afraid that these groups would band together and sort of take over power from him. So then all of these groups were sort of without leaders, which obviously isn't the way that's supposed to be. So they were really against him, and that caused a lot of political problems and then furthered his violence because they were against him, and it just sort of created this cyclical issue that revolved around the politics of Chad post-colonialism. Okay, now I'm going to talk about refugees.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking too?
I don't think so. Unless you guys need me to. I don't know. I'd want to have a script or something though, because I can't just sit and talk about this.
I mean, just so you know, full disclosure, when I go, I'm gonna sit there at first and try to just do it, and then if there's areas that I think that I haven't gotten into, I'm gonna look at my computer and then go back and talk about it.
Okay.
So if you feel better,
Well, I mean, I also have to go soon anyway, so.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, we all.
Okay, so one of the major problems in Chad right now is refugees, and refugee camps are taking up a lot of the economic resources in Chad, and the government's been doing a really good job of welcoming in refugees from South Sudan and the conflict there, and Central African Republic, and the surrounding countries, which has been good for those people because they can find a safer place to live in Chad. But again, the refugee camps are taking up a lot of the Chad government's funds and energy that they could be using to support the rest of the citizens of Chad. And another problem is that because of the conflicts in Libya, a lot of Chadian?
Is that how you say it? That's how I've been reading it. I don't know.
I've been reading it Chadian, but I feel like it's
Chadian.
not necessarily. I don't know.
Probably shouldn't.
I'll say a lot of Chad nationals have been working in...
Wait, say it one more time because I laughed.
A lot of Chad nationals have been working in Libya, and then because of the political conflicts there, they've been returning to Chad and without work, so those people aren't making any money, so they're running out of food and starving, and it's a pretty bad situation that way. And I think part of the solution is that NGOs and the government of Chad itself should do a lot of projects to help support those people that are returning from Libya and who are without work. And they actually have been doing a pretty good job. They're building wells in northern Chad, which is mostly desert. And the government has been supplying funds to build wells, which then people can, have their own gardens or have livestock, which is really helpful because then they can be more self-sustaining, and it helps to diversify the economy of Chad without having to export its workers to these conflict-ridden countries.
Chad National sounds like a sports team. The Chad National.
Well, they don't have sports teams there, do they?
They probably
Yeah,
do.
they do.
Okay, well,
We're not very good.
I don't know how else to say it.
No offense. I
Chatty.
think they're good, I have no idea.
How would you say it?
Chattian.
Yeah.
Sounds like some sort of cheese.
Chatty and cheese. I'm trying to think what else.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Did Longman email you back?
Nope.
What?
Nope.
What?
I've
I've been checking like
Wait, what did you email him asking about when it's due?
what time
He said before class, because I got there like ridiculously early and someone asked, he said he doesn't care, it's like 11:59, like that night or whatever.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I don't have to stay all night like this. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, he said he like really doesn't care, just whenever that day.
Okay, cool. I'm sure that's why he didn't answer my email because I should have already known the answer.
Well, no, it was
he
like
said it, yeah.
it was like 10 minutes. It was like way before class started.
Okay.
Like no one was there except for like the nerdy kids who get there really early.
Like you?
Yeah,
I used to get there really early.
the nerdy kids that get there really early. Jokes. You never laugh at my jokes. I'm a funny person.
That was funny that you just said that. I'm a funny person.
What else? What else?
Do you have anything about the treaties that you want to talk about?
Not,
If
I
not,
mean,
they're pretty straightforward. I also
Yeah.
like, my other
Yeah.
question for when I present would be, like, there's a couple things. So I did a lot of work on the website last night, but there are a couple of things that I want to, like, add in addition. So I don't know if it's better for me to say, like, for example, I know the outing layer of the international response to the Habre trial. Like I know
mhm.
that ultimately the African Union decided that they wanted to be the responsible for trying Habre, and that was huge for the international, for the African community
Yeah.
to be able to try one of the main dictators who's committed atrocities
Mhm.
in Africa. But there are, a huge part of what we have talked about in our class is sovereignty and the
Yeah.
international component. And so I want to do a little additional research on that. So either I add a clip like on Monday, I guess is what I could do, rather than just referencing it. So if you come up with anything else you want to add,
Okay.
we can do that.
Okay. The only thing I know about the African Union is that they did a pretty good job of trying to get rid of the Libyan forces that were taking over Chad.
I also think it's okay, do you think it's okay if it's like kind of a brief, if it is kind of a brief overview?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it should be.
Yeah.
I think it should.
I don't, because we don't want him sitting there for a long time just like watching our video.
And we want him to watch read our other sections.
Yeah.
How long do you think the video's gonna be?
I like your bag a lot, Sam.
I have no
Thank
idea.
you.
Or I would like to your bag too, but I like your bag.
Oh, ouch.
Burn.
$5 at Goodwill.
I just had something else I wanted to say. Now it's gone. Oh, so there was a big oil pipeline project from Chad.
Sorry.
There was a big oil pipeline project from Chad through Cameroon to international. What are those called? Oil tankers?
What are you talking about?
Like what? When you ship oil, how do you ship it? It's on the page.
On
Yeah.
a cargo ship?
No.
But it's like there's like bases
Cameroon.
or
Oh no, you said that. No, it's
Oh, are you talking
the
about?
Exxon, the terminals or the
terminals.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. Okay. So there was a big project in Chad to get the oil from Chad through Cameroon to the international terminals in the waters just outside of Cameroon. And that project was partially funded by the World Bank, which was great because it was supposed to help the Chad second generation, right, sort of building up their economy and developing schools and healthcare. But the government didn't do a great job of using those funds the way that the people wanted them to be used. So the World Bank pulled their funding, which was a good move because it's one of those things that gets the government to do what they're supposed to be doing instead of doing what they want to do. But since the World Bank pulled their funds, Chad has actually been doing a pretty good job of using those funds the way that people want to, and people have been demanding better use of the money so that they can, build homes or roads, because another big problem in Chad is that there are very few paved roads. Since the World Bank pulled their funds, Chad has been diverting those the profits from the oil to development projects and building infrastructure, and so the people have been really benefiting from that since the World Bank sort of crack down on their corrupt activities. I don't want to like repeat everything that's on our page, but I'm
Yeah,
trying to think
that's
of
the
like
thing.
things that are better.
I know.
It doesn't really matter. Like it can be a short, like overview, like a recap.
Yeah.
No one's gonna be pissed.
I think I hit the big ones.
I think you did. I think you did
Refugees,
good. Yeah,
oil.
and you like talked about the water, but you didn't like say a bunch about it. So like that's
Yeah.
good.
And I gave my recommendation.
What?
Or maybe save the recommendation for the recommendations page, so that we can have like a new thing.
Okay, I said part of it, so.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, I can write, I'll write stuff too. We're doing a separate page?
Oh, I don't know if we are. I just know
I
what
did
we're
not know we
thinking
were
of
doing
it.
a separate page. We can't.
I thought this was in place of that.
Me too.
Okay.
Do your recommendation.
Okay. Okay. One of my recommendations for further improvement of human rights in Chad is definitely focused on second generation rights because, you know, the northern half of the country is desert and the southern half is sort of devastated and, you know, Lake Chad is disappearing, which is a big problem. And there are a lot of projects that are trying to work on getting Lake Chad to sort of refill and getting dams so that people can use the water sources there. So I would say just supporting those projects and really supporting the people, demanding for the oil profits to go towards those sorts of things, and you know, building roads and infrastructure is really important for Chad right now because I think the political problems are still continuing, but they're not nearly as bad as they were in the time of Habre or before that. And so I think that now, as the political issues get not as severe, that it's better to maybe focus more attention on the infrastructure and the socioeconomic state of Chad rather than the politics as much, because it's not as much of a problem as it was in the past.
Did you have what makes you say that, I mean, I think I would agree with you that the political situation has improved, but I don't necessarily think that it's completely ideal, so I just don't want to make sure that I don't since I'm covering the
I think
political
it'd be good
aspect.
if you contradicted her. I think it'd be good to get different opinions in there.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to check, because I think that, yeah, I guess that's true, actually.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was gonna say that someone should have like a different opinion than you.
Okay. I mean, no, I think that's also good, because I think he wants us to talk, to emphasize both first and second generation,
Yeah.
so if we have one person.
Yeah.
Good. I just wanted to double check.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, but I do think in my opinion, the
Yeah.
main thing right now is to work on the development projects to better the quality of life for people living in Chad right now.
You mean Chad National?
Chad nationals need to have jobs in
I
Chad.
I love that this is recording this entire.
That's the bloopers section.
No bloopers.
My whole thing should be a blooper. I'm like a sweaty mess.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Do you think I need to add anything else?
No, I think you're definitely good.
Okay.
You got it all.
Was that bad?
No, it wasn't. I told you I overthink things.
I'm still overthinking mine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring my computer over.
I could talk about Chad for I could give a lecture on Chad, but I can't do it in front of this thing.
Yeah, I think I know a lot more than I
Than you think you know.
recognize.
Also, I've been talking all day, so I'm
in the rhythm of talking.
yeah. So I had open house today. So
I'm just gonna put this out of the
Yeah, there's been so many
Wait,
parents.
oh my gosh, today especially was a big.
Yeah, it's because all the schools had open house. Last week it was mostly just CAS, and we had twice as many people this week as we did last week.
Incoming freshmen or?
Incoming, yeah,
This is where-
just accepted students. They aren't even sure if they're coming here. I mean, some of them are, but.
Okay. When I came to look, it was not.
Oh, you know how I told you I was going to Chipotle?
Yeah.
Got there, didn't have my wallet.
No!
So
That is the
bad.
biggest letdown.
I was so close to when I got back to my dorm room to walking back, and I was like, no way.
There's one, I thought the one that you were going to was past South Campus, because if you
I don't know how far is that one.
It's not that far at all.
Really? 'Cause
Past
every time
South
I
Campus,
come in,
what?
I drive.
Yeah, if you go, you know where Shaw's is?
Yeah.
Instead of going across, you take a left past the movie theater.
There's a Chipotle right there.
Yeah.
The one
I
near
had no
Fenway,
idea.
right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
do you know where the movie theater is over there?
Yeah.
It's across the street from the movie
See,
theater.
every time I pass by there, I'm driving, I'm like, I feel like maybe this is a little further than...
It's not further than you think.
That's so annoying. I had no. I've lived there for this whole
Which
semester.
one?
I had no idea there was Chipotle there. The one in in South Campus or past South Campus. Yep. I didn't know there was
Where?
one there either. I don't like.
It's near...
on Brookline Ave, I think. It's like right near Fenway and the movie
Oh,
theater.
no, I do know that one. I just didn't recognize it
That
as
place
South
is my
Campus.
jam.
I love Chipotle.
Because it's a jam.
I
It
love
is.
Chipotle so much.
No, I've arguably spent like at least $1,000 in Chipotle.
I'm
It's
gonna
just-
move over here.
Do it.
I don't have to sit by myself.
Okay. So I think I'm going to talk about mine kind of out of order. I can help you put it in order. You can put it in order.
You have an order? Do you mean like chronologically?
Well, I just mean I have a lot of different components. Like I want to talk about the relevant individuals and two relevant individuals in Chad that kind of bring out the story of Habre's regime, and also the trial process that kind of brought him to justice. The trial process has been a very long process. Right after Idris, he's another one we're gonna have to figure out the naming of.
Debbie.
Just go Debbie.
Just
Go
Debbie?
or go home. That's how I say it. That's how we all say it, I think.
Yeah, but I feel like you have to reference his first name first.
Idris.
Just say President, the current president, Idris Debbie. And
Okay,
Just
so
like say it really
Longman
fast.
will know what he's
Idris
talking
Debbie.
about. Longman will know what we're talking about. He knows everything about Africa.
okay, so right after Habre was overthrown by the current president of Chad, Idris Deby, Habre then proceeded to leave Chad and go to Senegal, which is his current place of residence. And in fact, the entire trial of Hussein Habre has occurred in Senegal. There was kind of some debate at one point about whether it should be done in Belgium, because that's where the international court is held. However, the African Union and Senegal were able to eventually reach an agreement in terms of creating legislation that would allow Senegal to try an individual who is not actually a native resident of Senegal for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and really the many atrocities that occurred under Habre's regime. Just to break down the process of the trial a little bit, he was first in about 2000. Victims kind of came together and went to a court in Senegal and sort of tried to get a judge to see the atrocities that had been committed. And although he was initially arrested for on the charges of these crimes, like I said before, the court ultimately ruled after Habre's lawyers posted an appeal that Senegal did not have the jurisdiction to try Habre. So eventually, as outlined further on the Habre trial page, but he an extra. I'm blanking on this. Struggling. Hold on. Nope. Oh, got it. Eventually, the Extraordinary African Chambers were established, which was a court that was created in Senegal specifically for the purpose of trying Habre, and I think it originally was created in 2012 and was supposed to sort of the investigations specifically for the charges of Habre were supposed to go from there through the Extraordinary African Chambers. So that sort of wraps up a brief section on bringing a major African leader to justice. One thing that really stands out in this case is that many previous African dictators who have committed mass atrocities in their countries either have not been brought to justice or have not been brought to justice in Africa. And so specifically, this is sort of a big deal for Africa, and within the African Union as well, that this is happening. I would also like to talk about the judicial system in Chad, and within that, a couple different areas. The prison system has actually, at least right after the Habre regime concluded, has not really much improved. The conditions breach many different human rights. Specifically, there's, there's one example actually I want to give that one person who specifically, one victim who was really stood up to bring Habre to justice, has sort of mentioned his time in a Chadian jail where he was kept in a small jail cell, which was meant for one person, and really there were 10 people and 10 prisoners kept in that jail cell. In addition, they were fed stale food, water was sprayed in on them, and they were forced to lick it off of the ground or their arms or their legs, whatever. So really, not great conditions. And since the Habre regime, although you could say in some areas the judicial system has improved, in other areas it still has many areas where there have been breaches of human rights.
Before you stop talking about prisons, will you mention that there's no place for the prisoners to have a platform to talk about the conditions? Because there's, according to a human rights treaty, they're supposed to be able to complain about it. So maybe just mention that there is no place for them to complain about the conditions.
Oh, right. There's actually a couple different things to say about that, which I'll start about today, and if I feel like adding later, because I might. So in addition, there's really no platform for prisoners to complain about the conditions or to speak freely about the conditions under which they were treated, which was specifically which treaty? I haven't specifically looked into it.
It's on the website.
Okay. I'll reference it later then maybe. But another area of two things with that. One is that in addition, I think it's a custom that under their constitution that they're supposed to have a doctor come and visit the prisons up to 3 times a week. This has not occurred at all, and so the health of the prisoners is seriously brought into question. In addition, the arbitrary arrests and extrajudicial killings of individuals who are believed to be of rebel groups in opposition to the current government have been brought into jails and undergone extreme and long periods of detention without any sort of trial. They're even in the Constitution, even though it says within 46 hours or 48 hours, you're supposed to, at least hear your charges. This has not happened. So again, that's a serious issue. Some of these prisoners have later been released without ever having gone to trial. But in addition, other prisoners have so-and-so disappeared. So again, that's kind of sort of an indication of the lack of freedom of speech. Another aspect that was recently talked about in class was the importance of having a separate judicial branch from the executive branch. When Debbie came into power, one of the things that he tried to emphasize was a democratic system. This has not really, in practice, gone into place. Elections have undergone serious cases of fraud, what was I just talking about a second ago?
Executive.
Oh yeah, the executive.
Oh, quick thing.
Yeah.
Do you really want to say in class we were talking about that?
Oh, I thought. What was your hesitation? I don't know. Maybe it's a bad.
If you're proud of that, it makes no difference to me. I don't know.
What do you guys think?
I don't think it matters.
I didn't hear what you said.
If I say in class.
I think maybe not.
Okay. So just straight off say it's important to have a separate executive and
or you could say
judicial branch.
The human rights discourse has discussed, or don't say that. That's not open. Say the human rights world has talked about the importance of, if you want to, or you can just say it's important that
Okay.
they're separate.
Okay. In order to have moral and ethical judges within the judicial system, it is important that the judicial system and the executive branches of government are separate. In practice, this has not been the case. The president, Debbie, has currently appointed several of the judges, in fact, the majority of the judges, and in addition, he has been in charge of appointing the members of a council that is in charge of ensuring that the judges perform the way that they are supposed to. And so this extreme sort of filtration of the executive branch influencing the judicial system has effectively created a poor situation in terms of dealing with corruption in Chad. I might change that later because I don't know.
Maybe you should. If you want to say it differently, I would try and do it now if you know how you want
Yeah.
to say it, just so that it's done.
Okay, good point. I'm just seeing if I missed
I'm the
anything.
most exhausted human on this planet.
I thought it was funny. I thought about it afterwards. And I was like, yeah, I get what it's
I think
saying.
it need to be taken away.
Okay.
I got like no sleep last night. My fucking roommate,
Fucking.
Do you not like her?
she's literally the most annoying person. At 12:30, I was like passed out cold. I had to be up at 5 for Dean's Toast.
Holy
She takes a goddamn phone call in our bedroom.
Oh no.
The phone
That's so
rings out
inconsiderate.
loud, first of all. And then she picks it up and she's like, hello? And I was like, get the fuck out of here right now.
Did you tell her to leave?
She like ran out of the room, but she was,
Okay.
I was awake.
Yeah.
And I was like fully awake.
Yeah,
Awful.
that sucks.
Isn't this person your friend?
Yeah, I should never have lived with her.
Not
She's
anymore.
Yeah.
Are you guys not friends anymore?
I mean, we are, but like,
She's leaving BU?
she's graduating and moving to Memphis for Teach for America, so about that. I mean, we'll still be friends. I just can't ever live with her ever again. I'm glad that she's graduating because
Okay, I'm gonna finish this up really quickly. There's 2 more sections that I think I want to talk about today. I'm gonna correct this one I just did, and then I'm gonna do one more quick thing on prisons.
How are you gonna
Yeah.
like send to him like what to edit out or like?
Oh no, I mean I'm gonna correct what I literally just said about the
Oh,
judicial and the
okay.
executive branch. And so you just ignore the previous one and take this one.
It's gonna be fun watching all of this all.
Oh, it's kind of gonna take you a while. We've been filming for like a half hour.
That is nothing. I have spent like 15 hours like in one day editing. Just kind of sit there and you're like, oh, wow, what time is it?
So, given that the current government under Idris Deby has kind of controlled the elections and has the police force under the government has effectively shut down any rebels or opposition to the current regime, it is important to look at the judicial system and sort of the interconnection between the executive branch and also the executive and the judicial branches of the government. Because in order for a judge to be completely impartial when they are providing a sentence for an individual, in order for them to be completely in a moral and ethical space, they can't really be worried about what the government is going to think about their decisions. And in reality, the judges that are actually appointed in Chad are appointed for the most part by the current administration themselves. And so you can see sort of the direct correlation between the executive and judicial branches. And in that sense, even in addition, there's another sort of judicial council that's supposed to be in charge of, watching over the decisions that are made by judges and making sure that there are no breaches of, ethical or moral standards. Those are also appointed by the government. So I think that kind of shows the correlation between the executive and judicial branches. And I think one of the essential problems is that if the police forces, say for example, go and do extrajudicial killings or torture within prisons, and then let's say they are brought to trial, sometimes they have been, dismantled from their positions, but most times it just goes overlooked. So I think that sort of the interconnectedness between the systems that are supposed to be shutting down cruel and unusual punishment are they in themselves potentially corrupt. So that sort of brings that together. And the last piece I wanted to talk about were last piece is really quick, guys.
I have lost the ability to read.
The international and domestic.
Like, you guys.
Okay.
Good job.
I didn't even hear you. What was it?
It was pretty bad.
I was trying to lighten the mood.
I'm having a great time.
Okay, guys, last section. Furthermore, with the prison system, two sort of aspects that are important to sort of look at and recognize are who's been allowed to come and visit the prisons and sort of look at the atrocities that have been actually committed in these prisons. And the answer to that is sort of twofold. On an international level, there's the Red Cross. The Chadian government has allowed the Red Cross to come in and look at the prisons, but has also asked that there be advance notice before the Red Cross comes in. And so, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of coming in and checking on the prisons if the government has been able to kind of cover up what the atrocities that have been committed there? And then on the second level, the human rights groups within Chad actually have not really had the ability to go in and visit the prisons because they have to check in with the authorities at the prisons first. And for the most part, the answer is no. So that kind of shows you in and of itself a covering up of the issues. And finally, going back to the sort of improvements in the judicial system. And for that, the international community actually has in recent years sort of I think around 2005, have allowed for there to be non-professional trainings for judges in sort of the rural areas of Chad. And this is important because a lot of times the legal systems and the main courts, the formal courts that do exist are in the bigger cities in Chad. And so the rural areas are, although there are civil courts that do exist based on traditional practices, it sort of allows for sort of an improvement in the judicial system, which you'll see through our page in that section.
Did you give your recommendation?
Quick thing.
Yeah.
Just say your first and last name.
Oh, right. I'll say my first and last name. I want to, if possible, it will probably take 2 seconds to do my recommendation on Sunday. And the only reason I'm putting it off is because I was telling her before, I have a lot of really good information on the judicial system now in Chad. But I got my two prominent sources are from early 2000s, and so I want to make sure that I have current stuff, make sure that I actually know the current stuff first, even though that was kind of harder to find.
Okay.
Which is why I think before I make a recommendation I should do that. The other thing that we were talking about is whether maybe I should move my key actors and the page with the timeline of the trial to Ezra's section. So we have Abre kind of all in one place, and then do sort of the judicial and legal system as a different tab. Another thing Lauren was saying is that maybe then right now we have 2 Abre tabs, which makes it look like he's the focus of our presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that would help balancing
Yeah,
out.
so
But,
maybe
I mean, I don't feel confident.
you just move your sub-page of the Habre trial to a sub-page of Ezra's.
And then change your main page to be
Legal.
to the legal
systems.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would still keep it as its own separate page.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, no, I wouldn't move the whole thing under Ezra's. No. I'm saying I would.
Don't put it on a page that is on the same as Ezra's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Cool. I don't know. Oh, I'll say my name and then we can talk about it. So Chloe Warren, CHLOEWARREN. But Ezra, like, I don't know, like, it seems like he has a really busy weekend. So I don't know if I should just, like, exactly. He hasn't put up his section yet. I don't know whether, because the other thing too is, like, if he doesn't, like, in his summary of what, you know, we should say on the camera, like we were discussing yesterday, well, no, Ezra, I think, said he would do his if we want him to, or we can do his, but.
I can read his. Or not, bad idea.
Yeah, no, you could do that.
But I'd like literally be reading it.
What does he talk about?
I don't
No,
know.
it's Haber's regime, and I could
Or
probably.
he can just do it.
I could probably pretty much do it, but the thing is, like my point is that it's pretty similar to some of the areas of mine.
Yeah.
Maybe just
so-
like don't do his.
So,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But the thing is, I don't explicitly, like, in my section, I mean, I can research into that section a little
Maybe
bit, but I
it's
don't
better that we don't
explicitly.
even have it on the camera because we have a whole.
No, I think this is fine.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's fine. I think like just leaving his off is fine because we have the whole website. Like this isn't like our only, you know, like this is just one thing we have.
And I think at one point I do say, like, previous